box, I saw you enabled it. I hadn't seen that before. It's pretty cool. I can mirror my what? All these extra options I didn't know about. Now I just got to figure out how to get the chat window back up. There it is. Cool. So how's everybody doing? Or I guess, wait, can I hear you? Because it's all silent. Why am I not hearing anything? Yeah, sorry, I think I'm on the wrong audio device. Okay. Now, were you talking?
Yep. How you going?
Okay, that's better. Now I can hear. I was sitting there just talking over you, I'm sure. It was going to the wrong speakers. I think it was going to my Vive. All right.
How's it going?
Good, good. Just working on getting today's lesson out. It's just about ready to hit the button to turn it on. So it's going good though. That and debugging problems with this MMO project. Just interesting stuff. Oh.
Yeah, I'm still trying to catch up. I'm a good week behind from Sea of Thieves, but whatever.
Yeah. New game launches tend to do that. Something comes out and it's hard to.
Then Far Cry came out like just a few days ago, and so I started playing that.
Oh yeah. Too much gaming. You got to build your own Far Cry real quick.
Dude, I made a blog post about that, about just the balance of playing games, developing games, and I have college as well. I have a marketing course that just started yesterday, so just trying to finish up college and squeeze everything in.
I think that'll be a lot less interesting than game development.
It already started off that way. I got to do some stupid marketing report on a company I choose.
Hey, Chris.
How's it going? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Cool. I'm in my car, so.
Oh, all good. Cool. So, did you get stuck at all, Josh, when you're going through stuff, or?
When I do, I think my biggest thing is just taking a step back and going back over it slowly, because I'm trying to rush. I'm playing catch up, so I'm rushing through a lot of it. I'll put the video on like 1.5 speed and just kind of bang it out, and then go back if I screw something up, which I already have, and then I'll listen to your logic behind your stuff, afterwards.
Oh, okay. Yeah, making those mistakes tends to be the best way to really knock in that learning too, from what I've seen. Like whenever I mess something up, especially if I do it 2 or 3 times, like it starts to stick after that. When you just run into those problems over and over, you start to know what to look for and kind of watch out for it. So it's always good to break things and do bad stuff at the same time.
Yeah, definitely. You kind of make that mental note after you've made that mistake once or twice to not do it again. Yeah.
Like for me, the biggest one, the one I still struggle with, is just writing scripts and forgetting to attach them. I still do it, but I know what to look for, right? Like I know that when things don't work, that's always my go-to check. Like, oh, did I actually attach this to anything, or did I just write the script and hit play? And I do that a lot on all kinds of projects. Do it on big projects. The worst is the ones where it takes a couple minutes to get set up, and then I run through that whole process and then realize that I forgot to attach the new script.
Yeah. There was a couple of times when, like, through lessons, you had not attached the script. I'm like, okay, I went ahead and just attached it on my own, and I was like, okay, he's making a point over and over.
Yeah. Yes. Well, most of the time it was an intentional making a point. There was at least once, maybe twice, where I just forgot.
For sure.
How about everybody else? How far are you guys all? Could pull up the dashboard and find out.
Yes, me too. I'm doing 20 at the moment.
Oh, nice. You're ahead of Josh for sure.
Hey, by the way, is that Chris as far as Chris that I know?
No.
Okay.
No, the Chris that's in here right now is the one that I've talked about a couple times that does the mob programming stuff.
Oh, yeah. Right on. I thought it might have been Chris from up here.
Oh, no. It's the mob programmer, Chris, the one I talk about all the time.
Much appreciated.
Hey. Well, that setup you guys have going is just it's crazy. And you've got me back in.
Love it. I'm on 14 right now.
Oh, okay.
I'm just starting 17.
So I have 0 time.
Yeah. But I think with 23, we're going to wrap up this project and then start up the shooter, which is going to be a lot of fun. So if you fall too far behind, you can just kind of skip ahead to the next one and be up to date, and you should be able to follow along, I think. And try to call back to, if there's anything that's call back to previous stuff, I'll do everything I can to really explain it. So what about Paul? Are you having any issues? You said you're on 20, right?
Yes. It's doing the enemy death. No, I'm just following through as carefully and slowly as possible. I can't type up faster than your normal speed, no matter the double speed or 1.5. But I'm getting there.
Yeah, the typing is it's interesting. I took like 3 or 4 typing classes in high school because I just kept switching high schools, and every time they would let me take the class again for credit. So I got really good at it a long time ago.
Yeah, it's not typing, it's the thinking, really. I mean, typing is not a big problem.
Yeah, I noticed, like, I can type faster when I'm just ripping stuff off my head, but when I'm following along, I'm pecking away. And it's like, I can't wait till I reach that moment where you've already surpassed, where you can just start ripping off code off the top of your head. Like, I'm constantly referencing. I'm constantly, okay, well, I've done this before, but I still have to go back to my references to remember how to write it, the syntax, and just how to structure it, Right. And then I'm starting to kind of, I'm in like my 2nd month of Unity. So I'm still trying to I feel like I'm cramming like hardcore. And that's why I kind of just spent the last couple weeks playing Sea of Thieves and gaming to just give that brain a break,
Yeah. Well, and part of it too is like when I'm going through these things, I always rehearse them first, go through and do it once. And that's where I make all the mistakes and get stuck for a moment thinking like, oh, how do I do this? Or going back and changing stuff. So you're seeing the edited version, like the Hollywood version of my coding.
The movie magic.
Yes. So it's not always as smooth as it looks there. So it does get messy, and if I get stuck, I'll do the same thing that I'm sure most of you guys do, and just kind of step away for a minute, go do something else, or hop in and play a game for a half hour, and, get a little bit of time to recharge and think through the right way to set stuff up, especially when it comes to those bigger architectural things. The little stuff like how to make a call to some method or some built-in function, that stuff I just start looking up or diving through and testing out, making sure that I'm thinking right. But the bigger stuff always takes that little break, just to make sure that stuff's done right.
Yeah, for sure.
Sorry. Go on, Josh. Or whatever it was.
No, my phone just, I was about to say something, my phone just started ringing.
Oh, okay, that's what that was.
I was going to say, how long does it take you to prepare that 1 hour lesson in terms of the Hollywood side of preparing?
It's about double the time.
That's not bad.
Right around double, maybe triple on some of the more complicated ones. It starts off, in the beginning pretty quick, and then slowly slows down. It's just making sure that not making any mistakes. Like I said, it's mainly just with the architectural stuff where I just spend some time and like build the thing out, think it through, and make sure that there's not a cleaner, better way to do it, and then present it. And a lot of the time what I'll do is practice it out once, find the changes that I want to make to improve it, and then do those in the actual recording.
double the time and decades of experience.
Yeah, it helps.
Some of us never get any faster, though. Oh, well. How are you going with the testing? You mentioned in a talk, email recently.
Yeah, it's good so far. So I've been just kind of shoving it into this bigger MMO project that I've been working on a lot. In that one, it makes a lot of sense. A lot of the games that I build, a lot of the time they're small enough where it doesn't, like, there aren't a lot of big changes happening constantly. There aren't big teams of developers kind of going through building and changing things. So I don't usually want to shove it into those. But with this bigger project, it's been a lifesaver because I can just put in tests around all kinds of stuff, just even figure out how some of it works, because some of it's a bit messy and confusing. But it's still hard to plug all the tests into, just getting around the mono behaviors and stuff. So I'm still kind of figuring out how to do it the best ways. I'd like to do some, like a series on it, just on unit testing in Unity. I just want to get to the point where I know I'm not giving any bad advice. Right?
Yeah, coming from a more traditional area, I have a clear understanding of the unit testing, so I know do a bit of that. Your pooling one, for example, I put some tests around that so that I could understand how it worked. It's, as you say, the mono behavior point.
Yeah.
I might create a scene with a button in it so I can drive something off, but that's not very sustainable. Right.
Yeah, and you can test the mono behaviors. It's just a bit more work. And I think Chris even put together a little wrapper package for it too to make it a little bit simpler. I've been playing with a little bit. I just really need to dive more into that. Most of the testing I've done is just the non-mono behavior stuff, the standard stuff. Because I think, like you, I did a bunch of just standard .NET development, and unit tests are pretty much mandatory. I'd consider them mandatory in a normal software shop. So I love them. I'd always found it hard to figure out how to get them right in Unity. And like I said, with this bigger project, since there's a lot of stuff that's not mono behaviors, it made all that part really simple. But now I want to dive in and really figure out the best way to get mono behaviors tested without it being a pain in the ass. Right? Like, I want to make sure that I can do it and it's still not some workflow breaking process where it's a lot of extra work or you have to hack around stuff.
Have you tried the integration testing?
No.
Yeah, so that's really weird too, because it loads up like a new scene for every test, does one little thing, and then does a verify. And it's like super heavy, but it's easier than the unit testing.
Oh.
But it takes a lot longer to run them, which is the issue.
Oh, okay. Yeah, one of the biggest issues that I've got right now with getting those kind of tests into my project is just that they're all networked. Everything is set up with this networking library. It's all been there since before I got on it. And like all the objects are instantiated through this network library. So I need to find a way to kind of separate that out a bit.
Yeah, that's brutal.
It's not on these big monolithic network objects, and it's on smaller parts. But I don't know. It's a big project. It's a lot of stuff, but I'm having a lot of fun with it. So.
Okay. I'll be right back.
Yep.
It's the mindset for new projects that interests me the most. Refactoring for testing in older projects or legacy projects is always a pain.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you there. I think it'd be nice to just do a big project that's all test driven from the start, or a big Unity project like that at least. Because I've done it, like I said before, in just web stuff and Windows stuff, WPF apps, and that always seems to go great. Just testing, heavy testing built in from the start keeps everything nicely separated and clean, or it certainly encourages it at least. So I'd love to see that in a big Unity project as well. In fact, I'm actually going to a meetup tomorrow with some guys who I want to talk to about this too, because they do a lot of mobile games, and I think that they do a decent amount of unit testing in their stuff. So I want to find out how accurate my thought is if they're actually doing it or if I'm just getting them mixed up, and then kind of what kind of tips they have for kind of separating their stuff out cleanly enough that everything can be tested.
Just one question there. Any tips for making Unity perform a bit better on your machines and that? I know yours is quite fast in the videos. Obviously, a bit of editing there, but there's still a bit of a lag. Is there any little tips you can do for increasing that performance between Visual Studio and Unity in that?
The biggest difference that I had was actually just hardware. It was just switching over to a fast solid state drive made a huge difference in how fast the project loads and imports, and then how fast it loads up Visual Studio. I don't know if you're running on an SSD already, but if not, like it'll probably be the biggest, fastest difference you can make.
Yeah, running on like a later model Dell XPS laptop, so it's probably more CPU then.
Oh, okay. Wait, does that XPS laptop have a solid state drive in it?
Yeah, it's got the like a Samsung NVMe.
Oh, okay.
drive.
So you got. Oh, yeah.
It's got the latest side. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does anybody ever have any issues with Windows Defender and Unity, like bogging down the system?
Oh yeah, you got to exclude the project folder for sure.
That's okay. Yeah, I just disabled Defender honestly, and just
you can add a few exclusions. The folders, like where all your projects are, and that just remove that straight away.
Yeah. One other thing, I haven't done it myself, but one of my good friends, he had a lot of issues with Visual Studio just being really slow, especially with really big projects. And he ended up just switching over to using JetBrains Writer, which he insists is great now. Last time I tried to use it, I wasn't that impressed, but it was like a year and a half ago. So I'm going to give it another try sometime this week and see just how much faster it is. But he said it's just as good as Visual Studio now with the debugging and the IntelliSense and everything. Works like ReSharper without the slow ReSharper lag that you get in Visual Studio. So I'm going to give it a try. It may be worth checking out, though.
I like the fact that I can go into a class, a Unity motor behavior, and just type AW, and it says, oh, you want the awake function. It knows all about it and generates the framework already. So it's quite nice.
Yeah, it is nice. It's good to be able to do that, and it sucks when it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Have any of you guys tried Writer yet?
No, not yet.
I did a lot of Writer. It's pretty good, to be honest.
Okay.
Hello?
Did you do it with Unity?
Yeah. Unity, and I was doing all my development on my Mac, actually. And yeah, it's faster. Like when Unity sees new code, it takes a long time, no matter what you're using. But alt tabbing out of Unity, like to Visual Studio, seems to take longer. But yeah, and they have the special like Unity plugins, and they actually have Unity logos with like explanations for everything all over the place. So whenever you have like a private on start, it recognizes that and has like a description of why it's private and what that means to Unity. So they've done massive improvements to the tooling specifically for Unity. And there's like a Unity plugin for Writer that is really powerful.
Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm going to download the latest version right now and give it a shot because everybody keeps saying good things.
So it's been like 3 months since I used it. I've been using Visual Studio, but I just switched laptops, so I've just been too lazy to go get it.
Yeah.
But it was really nice when I was doing my own builds. So until I set up Cloud Build for my project, I basically had to build on my Mac for my iOS games, but once I set up Cloud Build, then it became a lot less important for me to be using Writer. But I have good hardware, so I think that's a big thing.
Huh. Oh, yep. I'm going to try it out as soon as I clear up some hard drive space, apparently. Oh, one other thing with Visual Studio, too, is if you do have ReSharper enabled, it seems to kill the damn thing. I had to just disable it because performance was terrible. Just going into a bunch of different projects and starting them up was slow as shit every single time, which sucks because I really like a lot of the stuff ReSharper does, but
Yeah, and if you want breakneck speed, like, you know, try using VS Code or something, because you could probably get away with much faster alt tabbing, because both ReSharper and Visual Studio and Writer are going to have some crazy load times on either end. So if you don't have great hardware, then going something lighter weight would be even better.
yeah, I'm a big fan of all the debugging stuff. So
Yeah, that's
the one thing that's kept me away from jumping into something like VS Code is like I love that Ozcode plugin in Visual Studio, just so I can search through all the data and compare stuff nice and cleanly. And just being able to set breakpoints and step through and figure out what the hell is going on. It's a whole lot easier for me personally to kind of like step through things and see the flow than to figure it out in my head and keep track of that whole stack trace.
Yeah.
Especially in projects that I don't know.
Yeah. It's like multi-person projects. That's the problem, I think.
Yeah.
When you're working on a single thing solo, it's a lot easier to get away with.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Like on these projects, it's easy. In fact, I think on most of the projects that I've done solo, yeah, that would be the case. But as soon as you jump onto these other ones where the code just makes no sense, gotta get in there, step through everything. Clear up some space so I can get Writer installed here. Well, does anybody have any other questions or just random stuff to talk about?
I'm interested in some tips on sport games, like what you can offer there, just in general setup. I know I'm really enjoying what you're doing now.
Oh, okay. Like any sport in particular?
Probably more like hockey.
Oh, that's funny. I actually was building a hockey game with a friend. It kind of died because he lost time and he was the driving force behind it. It's an artist that really wanted to make a cool hockey game. I'm hoping he gets back into it soon. For the sports game, so for that one, I'm trying to remember kind of how I had stuff separated out, but a lot of it was actually semi-similar to what we're doing with this hack and slash style game, because the player needs to be able to take control of any character. You know, we need to be able to totally abstract away the player, their controls. So I'll read that in just a second. You need to be able to abstract all that away and then assign a player to control whatever character it is. Basically, whatever character has the puck in that case, so you pass it over. You want to swap over control of that. And it was actually, let me think, it's a pretty simple project. I can actually send you the project if you're interested.
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah,
I can send you the whole. I'm trying to think. I think all of the art is stuff that we made. So yeah, if you're interested, I can dig that up and just send you over the whole thing.
Always found it's probably not so much ice hockey for me. It's going to be field hockey, but obviously very similar. But the idea is, always struggle with the animation and the stick control, like two hands on the stick type stuff, using then like inverse IK to keep the hands on the stick and stuff. Or was that just getting too advanced with the animation?
That was more than we had done, so we didn't get quite that far. But you might not need it. It depends on the game, though, right? If you want to have it look super realistic, then getting that set up and getting that right would be worth the time. But like in our case, it was much more cartoony, so it was a lot of particle effects and stuff kind of that mask a lot of that imperfection there. Yeah, I can imagine, though, if you want it to be more simulation style and more accurate, it's going to be quite a bit harder to get that IK stuff all right, get the thing hitting. Have you used oh, what the hell is it called? Now my mind's going totally blank.
Like root motion, like Puppet Master stuff, or
Yeah, that's
yeah, got a lot.
okay. 'Cause those certainly help a lot and simplify it. But
yeah, I think it's probably more. This course has probably helped me sort of get up to speed with the Unity, being a developer and that. But this course has helped me get that basic stuff. I probably tried to go too advanced too quick.
oh,
So this is building those skills up, so it makes more understanding.
let me see. Jim had a question here. I'm gonna read it at this time. So I was playing, testing hack slash, discovered a new problem. Whenever it attacks, it doesn't do damage. Oh, yeah. No, that is a known problem that should be fixed in 20, I think, 21, somewhere around there. So the issue is just that it's searching for other thing, or searching for anything that takes damage. That's the I take hit interface, and it includes itself in that sphere cast. So there are actually a couple different ways to fix it. Let me look and see. I think that the fix for it, I just want to make sure I get this right. So on the attacker, no, it's in the character, isn't it? Sorry, I'm just looking at the code. Oh, I lied. I did not fix that yet. I thought I had fixed that already. Well, we'll do it in today. So I'm going to add it in there. But there are two different ways to fix it. Either with a layer mask, so we can just mask out the characters, which is the best way to do it. Or we can just check to see that the thing that's hitting doesn't have a character on it or something. So that way we can't hit other characters. Of course, that would disallow hitting other characters if we wanted to allow PvP, so we'd have to do some changes there. But it's something that I thought I had fixed and just totally missed. And then one other thing that we're going to be changing on that Viking too, and I'm glad you brought this up because I'd forgotten about it too, was just that attack radius. Right now it attacks just in front of you, and it, after playing through a little bit, it feels a lot better if it attacks everything kind of around you. So I think I might even switch that attack animation to be the more spinny attack and then do damage, at a sphere that's not offset, instead just going from your character's position, or maybe just a little bit offset so that it's your character's position and some space behind you. But yeah, you didn't mess anything up. I just thought I had fixed that and apparently totally missed it. All right, Rider is installing.
So my question was about when you watch the enemies, they appear to cut through the character because they come quite close. It doesn't look quite right. Have you got any corrections for that, or any way of?
Oh, they're just getting too close. That could just be the stopping distance on them. So if you look at pulling mine up right now. If you look at the enemy's nav mesh agent, what you can do is just turn up the stopping distance. Right now, it might be at 0. If you just turn that up to around 1 or so, they'll stop before they actually get to him. So that's basically how far away they have to be from the thing before they consider it that they reached their target. I think mine is set to 1. It's very possible that I missed that in the video, though.
Or I miss seeing it. Always happens.
If either one's possible, it's certainly possible that I accidentally edited that out.
What about the idea of having it such that when the enemy hits you, it actually knocks you back? Would that be another way of showing the effect?
Yeah, we can do that. One of the things we're doing today is adding particles on all of these impacts. So right now, only the enemy has impacts, or at least as of yesterday, only the enemy has impacts. But going forward, everything will have some impact particle, and the ability to play and impact animation. Although I think playing an animation on the character is not going to be great, so we'll just put a particle on them. But yeah, that'll all be there in today's. I think that's in 22D, which I'll push up as soon as we get out of this call, I think.
I was thinking more in terms of physical movement. So it would change the gameplay if you hit an enemy or an enemy hit you and you went back a pace or away a pace. Like in real life, that's exactly what happens. You tend to push as well.
Yeah, and we can do that too. If you want, I can just add that into the lesson for today. Just do a little extra part.
Be interesting to see what it looks like.
Just grab a pen real quick and write that down so I don't forget.
I know that problem. But it actually would change the gameplay, and instead of being in the midst of all these guys, it would sort of push things away a bit, which could be interesting to see what it does.
Yeah, I think it could be fun too, and then it could add it in as an ability on the Viking as well or something.
Yep, but also if you did it on the enemies, I suppose. See, at the moment they ignore each other too and still cut through each other. But even if it didn't hurt them or push them away, but who knows? It could be interesting.
Yeah, it'd be cool. Yeah, I'm excited to try that out now. Ryder is almost done with the install.
I think you can set Ryder up to use the same keystrokes you use in Visual Studio, which will make your life a bit easier. Yeah,
that would help a lot.
Yeah, I know.
It's the one thing that drives me nuts every time I first do a fresh install of ReSharper. Changes a lot of my hotkeys, and then I start messing up. It takes me a few minutes to go in and fix things back up.
When you install Ryder, make sure you install the Unity plugin after you've installed Ryder. So it'll ask you to install it right after you open a Unity project in the project setting.
Oh, okay. So just open one up and it's going to pop up and ask me to do it, huh?
Yeah, there'll be like a little bar at the top, but you won't have the right experience until you've installed it, because all the Unity hooks come in after the plugin's installed. But it's also maintained by JetBrains, I think. So it's like
nice.
The first-class citizen. It just doesn't come pre-installed.
On the current right, on the bottom right, the messages, but yeah.
Oh, okay.
They also want you to turn off the auto-save because you can upset Unity with it.
Oh, yeah. Actually, in some projects, I use an extra plugin, the Console EX, just to prevent it from recompiling at all, especially when I'm running. So I've run into that issue with networked projects, especially where you start changing things and save and then come back over and everything breaks because it starts recompiling. So I've got there's a setting in there that allows you to make it only do a recompile on stop or start, so it won't recompile midway through your project, and it helps a lot. So then stuff doesn't just randomly break when you're playing or when you're coding.
Yep.
All right, well, I think I'm going to get back to finishing these up. I'm going to get this knockback thing in there and then get all these published up real quick. So unless you guys have anything else, so end it here.
It's been good, thanks.
All right, cool. I think we'll do another one of these maybe Friday.
Okay, I got to go and find that page. It shows you what the times are because I often miss them.
All right, guys. Good talking to you.
Okay, bye.